Rodney, I'm so thrilled that you're here with me today.
Yes.
I'm excited to talk to you and learn more about Favorite and what you do there. Can you introduce yourselves to the audience a little bit? Talk to me about who is Rodney, what do you do at Favorite?
I'm the Vice President of Per Diem Operations. I just moved into this role in the last month. I've been with Favorite 8 years. I started as a director in Raleigh. I think I started when we were doing 10 shifts. It was a very small branch. We grew it up to about 1,000 shifts a week in the Carolinas, and it's been growing. And I stepped into a regional role last year of the Southeast, and then now I manage the Eastern United States or per diem side. So it's Favorite's been around for about 43 years now. We were a privately held, family-owned company, and we were purchased by the Acacium Group in beginning of 2022, January of 2022.
Oh, wow.
And so we've been pretty heavy in the MSP per diem staffing, contract staffing side, and it's our bread and butter.
That's awesome. So you manage how many different states are you managing?
So I currently manage basically everything from Illinois down to Louisiana, over to the east. So all up northeast, down to Florida, and then my colleague, she manages everything from Illinois back over to California, that side. So we've got it in, we've got 4 regions. I do region 1, region 2, and she does region 3 and 4.
That's a big region. I can imagine.
Yeah, it's pretty big, and then I manage. We do our company is one of the things that we do. We're 24/7, and so I manage our National Operations Center. So it's based out of our corporate office in Overland Park, and so I manage the team there. So if you call at 2 in the morning or 2 in the afternoon, and you need a nurse, you talk to a live Favorite employee
that's
going to start the process of looking you a nurse, CNA, whatever you need. So I just took on that group about a month ago as well.
Wow. Yeah, I'm curious about that. I mean, it sounds like a very high-intense, high-pressure environment. What are some of the unique challenges that come with staffing 24/7?
I think with 24/7 staffing, since the pandemic, prior to the pandemic, you could call, and I think this is probably for most every healthcare firm, if you call me 30 to 40 minutes prior to the start of a shift, it's a lot more, it's a lot more difficult now than it was pre-pandemic. We had a lot, there's a staffing shortage, obviously, with nurses, but once you've, I think prior to 2019 and earlier, you had a better shot of having more available per diem individuals, whereas now, we will definitely do our best, but I know our percentages go up. Like, if I've got 8 hours to fill your shift or 4 hours versus 2 hours, the percentages go up exponentially. If I got 12 hours, I mean, it's almost a guarantee I can, fill the shift for you for last minute staffing. But the closer it gets to the start time, most of our per diem, they're going to have this week and next week already booked out because they're looking flexible shifts. So we're basically trying to find maybe somebody who's gotten canceled or that sort of thing.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
You talked about the supply of per diem staff going down since the pandemic.
Yeah.
Why do you think that's happening?
Well, I know during when COVID hit, I know I'm in the Carolinas, 15% of our healthcare staff and employees just vanished. They just went away. That was for hospitals, everybody. People just decided this ain't for me anymore. And I think some of your healthcare professionals, some of your long-term care places of the pay, because it's based on, we're seeing a lot of the targets. You're seeing a lot of places that are paying $15, $20 an hour.
Yeah.
And when you're dealing with some of your CNA roles or med tech roles, it's a little bit more difficult. Do I want to push and pull on people, injure my back, moving patients, or do I want to work for $20 an hour in a retail environment? So I think pay has really, at not competitors, but pay at out competing sources has really pulled some of the individuals just to, hey, I'm done with healthcare, I'm gonna move into something else. We're seeing some of them come back. There definitely been we started seeing a lot of individuals starting to come back to the healthcare side, but I think that played a big part of it. And then fear of the unknown. There's a lot of people just they walked away from healthcare like, I'm done.
I can imagine. Yeah, it would be a really difficult time. I mean, in some ways, there was more work then, and there was more demand, but a lot of stress.
Oh yes.
I'm curious. What are some things that Favorite does to attract talent? How do you convince someone maybe who is in a full-time role now, or maybe hasn't taken a per diem shift before, to come work with you?
I think we've got to, we're strong on our social media platforms. We do a lot of social media campaigns. Referral is still 100% the industry best. I think everybody, referrals are great, because what we've seen is I've got individuals who've been working with me per diem since 2017 and are still working for me at Favorite, picking up per diem shifts.
Wow.
They may work 2 to 3 months hard and make some extra money for vacation.
Yep.
And then I may not see them for 6-8 months. Then they're like, hey, I want to come back and pick up some more. So different people have different needs. You got a lot of people that will use per diem as a way just to fill in, to make extra hustle money, things of that nature. So, but we definitely have a strong presence, obviously, on all the job boards. But referrals are hands down our best. When we have staff that are inside of a place and they've got the Favorite badge on, and people are like, tell me, and they explain to them, hey, I'm going to nursing school. I'm a CNA right now.
Oh, interesting.
So Favorite is allowing me to pick up a lot of flexible shifts around my while I'm going to nursing school. So versus being told when to work, they have a buffet of locations on our mobile app that they can go in and pick up and choose to work on their schedule around school things. So we have a lot of individuals that do that as well. So that's, I think, a big draw, because you've got the flexibility of your schedule.
For sure. I love it when you have word of mouth doing your job for you. Like, that's the best case scenario. Do you incentivize referrals at all?
Absolutely.
Do you make that find that effective?
Oh, 100%. Absolutely. I think, paying for referrals is, if somebody's out there, the old phrase, bird dogging for you, I have no problem making sure if, those individuals are going to get, whether it's a travel or per diem, we're going to make sure we compensate them. And, we try to stay on top of that for industry standards to make sure we're doing a good job with it.
That's awesome. One of the things I hear about from, healthcare staff that are debating about taking per diem work is that, the consistency of shifts, having enough flexibility in their shift, or off, potential shifts they can take can be challenging, or takes them too long to onboard. How do you overcome some of those challenges and make it really seamless, and then get people to work fast when they do have interest?
So I think we do a couple of different things. One of the good things that we do is we know where, with our technology and things of that nature, we can see where we have viable profiles, and so it helps our sales team know how to go out and try to acquire other clients in that market, so that we can place people in different locations. But Favorite has really, we're a 40-plus year company who is, our model has been per diem pretty heavy.
Yeah.
So a lot of clients know us as a per diem, last minute staffing. So that's really helped. And then the other thing that has worked well, especially, I was the director in the Carolinas in Raleigh, and I started with Favorite in 2017, is watching my staff as they got roles. Hey, Rodney, I just became the DON at this location, and we're short-staffed. So a lot of our Favorite employees that have worked for us, that move on and take a full-time permanent job as they've moved up in their career. I'm a huge believer in we treat people, we don't make anything, so we don't make widgets, so I can't make it better. People are our commodity. So, when I hire people internally, it's, you've got to answer every phone call with a smile and treat our staff like gold, because they are our commodity, so to speak. And you've got to take care and have great candidate experience.
Yeah.
And if you do that, and you treat people how you want to be treated, we have found that has worked. I know for me, it's worked really well in getting referrals. You take care of your employees. They know they can reach you. If they need to call, they're able to get up with somebody on our team, or if they want to speak to me, they can get a hold of me. So that's been very helpful, and just treat people the right way.
That's awesome. Yeah, I hear all the time the connection, like the personal connection back to a staffing company, being able to get a quick answer if you're struggling, with something on the job is so critical to that candidate experience.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, you talk about brand credibility. People are your brand. So if you create a good positive experience for your
100%.
people,
Yeah, absolutely.
it carries. So you touched on pay a little bit. We've surveyed, per diem staff, also full-time healthcare workers. And one of the things that I think is interesting is that 63% say they live paycheck to paycheck, and 72% feel underpaid.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're a payroll company, so we're all about fast pay.
Yeah.
And 60% said they would take one shift over another if they could get their earnings the same day they work. How do you manage making pay, not just the amount, but how people are paid, a differentiator for Favorite?
So I think one of the things we try to do really well is we try to, be a consultative approach to our clients, and letting them know this is what the market, and sometimes not every piece of business is a good piece of business.
That's true.
That's something that, we know that, I'm not saying that we want to fire a client or anything like that, but I've had clients want to, hey, this is what we pay, and I'm been very honest with them, like, well, that's not what the market in all their competitors, you're not going to have anybody want to pick up.
Yeah.
So I think you've got to be willing to have real honest conversations and have good sales team that understands this client may not be for us, and that's okay. If that's, there's a lot of 1099, people out there and different platforms that, kind of they're mislabeling, misclassifying workers, and we don't do that. We're a W-2 employer.
Yeah.
So they're able to probably maybe pay a little more and bill a little less. And I think as legislation continues to catch up with them, that's going to be a harder thing for facilities to utilize that type of staffing service, because it's
For sure.
It's going to definitely catch up to them with either fines or they're going to have to go W-2.
Yeah, it's rare I talk to a healthcare staffing agency that has a 1099 model anymore. So what would you say to a company that's trying to decide how to classify their workers?
Well, if we're sending you people and you're determining their schedule,
Yeah.
you're telling them when to show up. A contractor is, I'm going to paint your house, and if I'm going to show up at 8 or 8:30 and I'm going to work till I get the job done, or if I need to go home because something came up, hey, I'm going to be back tomorrow. I'm telling you my schedule. That's a 1099 type of contractor. Not when you're engaging and telling the people, be here at 7, you get to leave at 3, this is when your break is.
Yeah.
That is, to me it's a no-brainer, but it's very scary that there are people out there to utilize 1099 because you're starting to see legislation where they're actually going, and states are going after the facility, not the staffing agency or platform. So it really opens up a huge can of risk, and it's something that we'd never want to bring that to our clients.
Yeah, absolutely. You've been in healthcare staffing a long time. I'm curious, what's a staffing challenge that a lot of healthcare facilities face that they don't really openly talk about that you see happening?
I think right now you're seeing a big challenge is you're seeing burnout. It's a lot of people are burnout. In the healthcare space, a lot of nurses feel, there's just it's a huge challenge. People are very demanding when they're sick or not well, or and there's a lot of burnout, and I think it's just been you had this huge wave of pay that came in from pandemic, or and then as pay has started to come back down, I think you're also seeing a lot of facilities and companies that they were struggling. They paid so much out maybe during the pandemic that they're kind of on that struggle bus to trying to, 23 was like this. They tried to conserve their funds, and so they tried to maybe get by with 1 instead of 2 on a shift.
Yes.
And so it really burned a lot of people out, and a lot of OT and things of that nature. So I think that's a big struggle that facilities don't talk about, but we see it. You see it there, and not all clients do that, but you see some do it, and it really wears out individuals and employees.
Yeah. I've also heard that just the amount of new healthcare workers who haven't been in the field very long, the training component that the legacy workers have to kind of teach them everything and how daunting that is.
Yeah, it's a different, you have different people with different skill sets, different skill gaps. You got some people that are, different age groups that are, so you see that and as we're losing people that are aging out or retiring, that's not passing down fast enough, most likely. And so, I think that, and then I think just a lot of the nursing schools, we need more nurses, and
100%.
And they can only take but so many, so they're not cranking out enough in the industry that you're starting to see more of even we have the international nursing, bringing that connection into facilities, so we can help out and provide staffing even from an international perspective.
Yeah, that's great. So I know you have a payroll background, and I don't often get to talk to people who know anything about payroll. So I thought if you can indulge me, I'm curious, how do you think payroll technology is changing or should change to serve healthcare staffing?
Well, I think as long on the payroll side, as long as we're staying compliant with the state's requirements, that this is not I know a lot of states have really looked at some of the payroll pieces, and I know New York is one. I've heard, I keep up reading it. You don't want to become you don't want it to make it to become where it's just a payday loan.
Yeah.
So I think that's one thing that is a hot button issue in legislation. But as long as we, the payroll piece component has really helped, because even if you pay every week, for individuals that work on a Saturday, Sunday, and the payroll cycle ends on Friday, you process it the next Monday. Even though they worked a couple of shifts, it may take 10 to 14 days to get you your money. Whereas the different payroll component to it now with same day pay or next day pay or whatever the different technologies are, it's really helped with what we do, because for people that are, like you said, 62, the numbers you rolled off, it's very similar data we've heard. You've got individuals there, they need the money now. So if they work Saturday, they'd love to have it by Monday. So they want those hustle shifts. So the payroll component has increased. I think it's changing the game.
Switching gears a little bit, you talk a lot about leadership on LinkedIn. You're in a highly stressful industry. Can you talk a little bit about your leadership style? How do you lead your teams? What's your kind of philosophy?
My philosophy as a leader is I'm one that I'm going to be accessible. I talk to my team. I think it's very important, vent up. I joke with my company that and I think everybody's had those stressful times, but I'm like, I need an honorary PhD in counseling, because I always have my leaders. I'm like, look, call me on your way home, fuss at me if you need to, but when you go back into the office or with your teams, you got to keep it positive, because it doesn't really do anything. I think it's being a source, let people vent, and I try to make sure I'm available for my teams, and I've got a really good, I've got some really quality people, been in the staffing game for numerous years, and so that, you got to treat people the way you want to be treated. I don't know if it's just coming up from a Southern background. I was raised on a farm about 30 minutes outside of Raleigh, and just one of those, I'm used to getting up at 5 o'clock, working on a hog farm, and when you've done that, I don't mind rolling my hands up and helping my teams out, and so I think that builds a lot of trust with your team, that you're willing to do what you ask them to do.
Yep.
So that's been, for me, has been a winner, and just trying to make sure we take care of our people, because and lead with a servant's heart. That's one thing. Chris Brink, at Favorite, he's our president and CEO. He preaches that, leading with a servant's heart, and so I think that's a big component of what a good leader and what I've tried to emulate is just having the servant's heart.
That's wonderful. I love the vent up, how simple that is, because you're right. Like the second you vent down, it becomes really, really toxic and hurts morale. So
absolutely, and it doesn't do anybody any good. It's going to mess with your money, my money. So I always tell my leaders, I'm like, it doesn't, fuss at me or I'm the one who's probably going to be able to make something happen for you.
Exactly.
Don't get it something, and it's like I said, we don't have stuff all the time, but it's like, there'd be something going on at a facility or an employee, don't shut it down, bring it to me, or or bring it to your leader, and I think we've done a good job with that, and trying to make sure our people, we treat people the way we want to be treated.
That's excellent. So we're at Staffing World right now. So there's a lot of talk about trends in staffing, the future of staffing.
Absolutely.
I would love to hear from your perspective. What do you think is the most exciting innovation in staffing right now that is really kind of changing the game?
Obviously, I'm going to probably go with the topic everybody's talking about. It was going to be AI.
Yeah.
I mean, I think AI. A lot of people think AI is going to be, just going to take away all our jobs. But there's such a human component to relationships that I don't think is ever going to go away. And not everybody wants to talk to a tech or that piece of it. But there are components that you're seeing in technology, like when an employee applies, and then when under a minute, technology, AI can reach out to them, and whether they apply at 2 a.m. or 2 p.m, that's a big thing. I think it's really a game changer. That's going to really help our industry from a recruitment standpoint. And I think that's going to help change it, because normally you apply at 2 a.m, you're not going to be available at 8 a.m. the next morning because you're applying on your break, and then you come back in, and so people will want to pick up the phone and start calling their applicants, but you're not going to reach the 2 a.m. person.
Yeah. I'm curious, kind of similar line of questioning. If you could wave a magic wand and change one thing in staffing, what would it be?
If I could wave the magic wand, that's a great question. I'm just thinking, for me, it would probably be, obviously I'd love to help continue to drive where the healthcare workers, the pay rates. I'd love to help drive that into a place that they want it, but also make it so that it's where the client is comfortable with it. I think pay is, like I said, it's one of the bigger things that it's what attracts candidates, keeps candidates. But I think if I could wave that magic wand and help that side of it, and help staff understand too. I think as we're coming back down, you're starting to slowly get people back into the mindset of what rates are now.
Yeah.
So I think that is, I think that would be probably one of the things I would wave, and help the candidate and the client side understand both sides maybe better.
Yeah.
But that's always an ongoing thing.
Yeah, we've done a lot of surveys with healthcare workers, and it sounds like a silly question, but we ask them to rank how do you choose a staffing firm, or why do you take a per diem role over full, and pay rate is always one of the options, and it's by far in a way the number one choice.
100%.
Because it's the all the rest is really important as well, the relationship with their recruiter, their agency, but when it comes down to it,
pay is a big thing, and I think that is huge, and that's why I tell my staff too, is making sure that we're treating our people great, and they know that we're calling them, and we're going to try to find them work, and we're working with them, so that even if somebody offers 50 cents more down the street, I don't want them to cancel a shift for me, to go work that one. It's they know that the opportunity, what we bring to the table, our staff, our team, the pay, that it's not worth it. They'll have more opportunities than doing last minute cancel with us to go pick up a 50 cent more, because some people will chase it, and hey, if that's what they do. But it's I would definitely want to build the rapport with our we call them in ours temporary health professionals, THPs. That THP experience for us is a huge part of what we do. We want to make sure they're taken care of and they're treated well.
Love it. I'll finish with one question, then I'll let you go because you've got other things to do. But if you had to sum up the future of staffing in one word, what would it be?
Technology. I think technology is going to continue to help make it better for the candidate. Mm-hmm. It's going to make it better for the staffing. It's going to make it better for the clients. I mean, technology is going to be a big part of healthcare, from the staffing piece to how doctors are taking care of their patients. I mean, it's, I recently had a child in the hospital, and they rolled in the TV, and the doctor was reading the reports and was in a whole other state because they didn't have somebody available to read some of the reports. And they were part of the network we're in, but they were in another state, And
That's wild.
nurse wrote it in, and we consented to have a conversation, and they read everything and diagnosed everything, from there. And so I think that's technology is going to be the game changer.
That's awesome. That's taking virtual healthcare to a whole new level. So
Absolutely.
wonderful. Well,
Yeah.
Thank you, Rodney, so much for taking time with me
Absolutely.
today. This has been a great conversation, and really appreciate you. Enjoy the rest of the conference.
Hey, we appreciate it. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me. Yes,
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for watching. More videos are coming soon, so stay tuned.